Hey everybody, welcome back to the Show and Tell Show. It is another episode with Jan from Penetanguishene Museum. And we have Nicole from Penetanguishene Centennial Museum and Genevieve Carter down there sitting in beautiful downtown Springwater Township, working at her own museum, and me, Nahani. Anyway, last week, Penetanguishene Centennial Museum challenged us to bring stuff out from our Coca Cola collection. Now, Penetanguishene, that was a cheap shot because like we all know what you had in town. So show us your best. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be phenomenal what you have to show us. So let's see what you have.
Now you're really setting us up. We picked it because it is International Coca Cola Day. So there was a purpose of us choosing Coca Cola. But we did have a Coca Cola plant here in Penetanguishene, and to know a little bit of the history, back in 1917, Abe Moses opened the Penetang Bottling Company out of the Georgian Bay Hotel. And in about 1921, that hotel did burn down and he moved his production onto Main Street. And in his bottling company, he did produce Georgian Bay Dry and Dominion Dry pop. In 1931, he did get a contract to start producing Coca-Cola out of his Penetang Bottling Company. And so we do have one of his original Penetang Bottling Company's Coca-Cola bottles right here. Abe Moses died in 1931, and then his two daughters took over the business, and it was really his stepdaughter, Helen Booth, whose husband died in World War II, and he was the highest decorated person who died in Penetanguishene in World War II. That was her husband, and so she grew the business to what many people know as a Coca-Cola plant. On the main street. And here are some pictures of what she grew it to be. And then here's another picture from our archives too. And in about 1965, she did partner with Butch Orser to really grow it to the way it was here. So sort of known as like Orser was a name, or Booth was a name that you would associate with the Coca-Cola plant. And Orser, if people don't know, is Brian Orser was a very famous figure skater, and it was his parents who were the Orsers that owned this Coca-Cola plant. And so we have a couple other things here that relate it to our museum. Is this crate here, which was a Coke crate. This was made by the Beck Manufacturing Company because they did build boxes, and they did build some for the Coca-Cola company. And then of course we've got the very recognizable sign if you sold Coca-Cola in a spot. And so this was actually hung here at the general store when it was open in the 40s and in the early 50s. So that's some of our stuff about our Coca-Cola plant. Many people remember working at the Coca-Cola plant or picking up their pop at the Coca-Cola plant here because it was right on our main street, and it actually ended up closing in 1989. So it was around for basically the majority of the 1900s on our main street in some form or fashion. So that's what we have.
Very cool. Yes. Did you go when we had the challenge and go, what should I take? That so much, I'm sure.
Well, it was actually, we were like, that's what we were kind of scrambling for, because we assumed we had all this stuff like that we didn't really do a lot of preparation for this one, and assumed we could just grab stuff, and then we're like, where is all our stuff? So but we always had this sign. This sign was like, we'll just show this sign if anything.
And we still take you back. Yeah, we still take you back.
So many bottles, but this is one of our oldest. So we have so many bottles from the Penetang Bottling Company, but this was our oldest. So I showed that one.
Very cool. Now I was like, I'm going to tell you, I was all like, smarty pants last week too, thinking I knew the perfect thing. So I wasn't able to achieve that. So I'm going to let Genevieve show you what she was able to, because this is why I shouldn't be in the collections department, because I don't know where anything is. And I think I know, but I don't know. Anyway, so Genevieve, go ahead. And after she's done, I'm going to show you what I think I thought we had.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I have brought in a number of copies of negatives, black and white negatives from Penetang, might have been a Penetang newspaper. I'm not entirely sure. These were given to us by Vern Farrow, who was a well-known in the area newspaper man. But anyway, these are all photographs from the Penetang bottling plant. So here is a photograph, possibly before it was expanded by Helen Booth. Familiar site in town, and it looks like these photographs might have been all taken during an open house, because there's a number of photographs of the assembly line or bottling line, whatever it was called. And there's a photograph with the fleet of trucks out front. Very exciting, very busy place. More of the, unfortunately, we don't have the newspaper that is associated with all of these negatives. So we don't know any of the figures, with the exception of these two right here. There is Helen Booth.
Ah.
Yes, and she is giving something, not entirely sure what it is, to a fellow named Pivot Marchadon. Pivot Marchadon was Phil Marchadon, the baseball, Major League Baseball player's brother. I don't know if he worked at the plant or if this was, you know, something that maybe he had won in a contest. Anyway, if you do know out there, please let me know. Here's some more photographs of the assembly line with some young children. Go and have a look around. And more. Look at all those Coke bottles. Just makes me so thirsty. Yeah. It's a perfect day for it too. And then last but not least, Mr. Butch Orser.
Oh, there we go.
And there we go. Yes. And these are these ones are real photos, and these are from a large collection that we were given in 1998 of photographs from one of the photographers from the free press. So practically anyone who'd ever had his photograph in the 1980s and early 1990s will be found in this collection. So Mr. Orser. Oops, Mr. Orser. So there you go.
Now, I heard a little ooh and ah from you. Are some of those photos like you haven't seen?
Yeah.
I don't think we have some pictures of assembly lines that were taken, but I don't think it was for those, because I don't think I've seen that picture of Helen Booth in you know, in the assembly line, that picture. I think the ones we had must have been from the 60s. But yeah, so it was neat to see a picture of her. So
yeah. Well, we'll have to make sure you get a copy, because it really does belong in your
absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah, that whole donation, I think there was about maybe 100 photographs or 100 black and white negatives of all Penetang, LaFontaine, Perkinsfield area events that occurred within a very narrow state range. So there's some photographs I know of Bryant's Jewelers and some of the employees. So I can't remember anymore, but anyway, yeah. So yes, come, I'll show them to you.
yes.
Yes, come visit us. We'll show you things. That's what we do.
Sorry.
What we do best. So I was like so smarty pants last week thinking, I know what we're going to show. So I spent some time, like, we have a giant cookbook collection. I'm sure you do too. I know in here is a recipe for a cake with Coca Cola. You think I could find it?
Oh,
no.
And there would be, yeah, because I've heard of like using pop in soda pop in cake.
I've heard of ginger ale.
I was gonna be all smarty pants and make it. But,
wow.
I'm still gonna find it. I'm gonna find it.
And then would you have delivered us some?
Yeah, we're still waiting for that Johnny cake, you know.
Yeah. That's about that must be one of our first episodes.
I know. I don't know who ended up. Did you take that home? Who took that home? Somebody took it home.
I might have. Yeah, I think I did.
I think you did. Okay. So next week's challenge, this is one for like museum people everywhere. who take in collections, we spend like a lot of things we get, like, oh yeah, a butter churn, oh yeah, a Coke bottle, but sometimes you get an artifact and you need to figure out what it is.
Yes.
Oh.
So our challenge next week is for like the artifact you just got right into the research, figuring out what it is, how it was used, just, you know, and maybe you found out a really neat story about it, like that one artifact in your museum that kind of really challenged you in your research skills, like from figuring out to who it belonged to right to what the heck is this. So that's our challenge for next week.
Okay.
Showing off our mystery artifact that made us work for it.
Yeah.
I still take you back to the pork rinds and the chicken. Those were pretty awesome challenges. So
Those were pretty awesome
had one
challenges.
coming.
They were.
You had one coming, yeah.
Yeah, we did. But this is, I think this is a good one because I think, you know, all of us working in museums, we've had our challenges with that artifact, the one that made you work for it. Okay. Same time, same channel next week, and we'll see you all.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.